Hey everyone, it's Mr. Aarons. Today we're going to be working through the Chapter 3 study guide. I'm going to be doing a few problems with you, and then I'll send you off on your way to work on the rest on your own. We'll just jump right in. All right, first thing to note is there are going to be some questions to skip here. As we didn't do 3.7, we decided to take that out for this year. So there's going to be a few questions to skip on this, so you can skip these. There'll also be some questions on the test that I'll ask you to skip just because I already handed it to you, but we decided after I handed it to you that we're going to skip some certain ones. So I'll instruct you on those on the test at a later time. You also will have a day tomorrow to use as a catch-up day, also to finish the study guide if you need that. All right, let's get right into it. So I'm starting with number 1 here. They tell us to determine whether each number is a solution of the given inequality. Circle yes or no. Simple way to do this is we take each one of these, and all we do is we just plug it in for z. We see if it's true or false, or yes or no, and go from there. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take 4 times that by that -2 I'm plugging in right there, plus 7 is greater than or equal to 15. And I know just whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Those cancel out, leaving us with 4 times -2 is greater than or equal to it's positive 8. 4 times -2 is going to be -8. -8 is greater than or equal to 8. No, that would not be the case. Oh, what am I circling? I'm going to circle no there. That would not be the case. You could also have done this by just going 4 times -2 is going to be -8. Plus 7 is going to be -1, which is also not greater than or equal to 15. Either of those work. 2, we're going to do the same thing, plug it in. So we're going to go 4 times 2 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 15. We'll do this one the quick way. That's going to be 8 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 15. This would be true. 15 is greater than or equal to 15. It is equal to, so that's going to be a yes. Last one, we're plugging 5. Right here, we're going to have 20 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 15. 27 is greater than or equal to 15. Yes, 27 is greater than or equal to 15. We'll do the same for number 2, plug all those in. Moving on to number 5. Right here we have a group of them that are asking us to write an inequality to model each situation. Remembering our different options, we've got greater than equal to, less than or equal to, or there's not equal to. We haven't really done much with that, probably won't. Elephants can drink up to 40 gallons of water at a time. Okay, so I am going to use W for water. I know they can drink up to 40 gallons at a time. So W cannot be more than 40. So it's got to be less than or equal to. I know it's or equal to because it says they can drink up to 40 gallons of water at a time. So W is going to be less than or equal to 40. And that would be my completed inequality right there. Moving ahead to number 8. They ask us to write an inequality for each graph. All right, the first thing that I know is I'm looking at the point here. I see it as between 4 and 5. I'm going to say it's 4.5. So I'm going to use that right here. I like to put my variable in front. I'm just going to use, let's just go with G this time. So now I'm thinking G is, I see it's filled in circle, so I know it's going to be or equal to. And it's pointing to all the numbers less than 4.5. So G is going to be less than 4.5, less than or equal to, because that's a filled in dot. Not too bad there, not too bad. All right, going on, we're skipping ahead a bit here to number 15. You notice here I have 16 crossed off. All right, right here they ask us to solve each inequality, graph the solution to all problems. Okay, we've got variables in more than one. That's why I skipped ahead to this one. It's a little more challenging. We've got a multi-step problem here. Our first goal is to get all the variables onto one side. I see an easy way to do that. I'm going to add 2y to this side. That'll cancel those ones out. and I'll get all the variables over here. Those cancel out. Leaves us with 8y minus 7 greater than 13. I just realized, never mind. Okay. And right here, I'm going to add 7 to each side. I get to 21 over here. Y is less than 21. And I'm going to divide each side by 8 to get y by itself. Y is less than 21. Why am I writing 21? This should be 20. 13 plus 7 is 20 over 8, which is going to be the same as y 2 and 4 eighths, which is the same as 2 and a half. And I don't flip the symbol here because we multiplied by a positive, not by a negative. So right here, y is less than 2 and a half. So I'm going to put, we'll go 1, 2, 3 right here. I'm at 2 and a half. I know it's going to be an open circle. Y is less than 2 and a half. The arrows point this way for me. If I have that variable in front, I'm allowed to do that. And that's how you graph that one right there. Connect those variables to start and then move from there. Moving on to number 17. We got those compounds here. We've got more than one. Basically, the keys for these, whatever we do to any part of it, we do to both sides. You got to think about this as being 3 different problems, really. So right in the middle here, we have 9 is less than or equal to 6 minus b is less than 12. My first thing is to get b by itself here. I can do that by subtracting 6. It's going to seem kind of interesting. Remember, there's an imaginary plus right there. I'm going to subtract 6. I have to subtract 6 from right here, and right here, and right here. Whatever I do to one part, I have to do to all of them. There is more than one equation here. You can think about splitting it up like this, and then like this if you want to. Whatever you do to one part, you have to do to both sides. It's 2 separate problems here. Okay, so that's going to leave us with 3 right here. We still have a negative b. Can't get rid of that negative because we have it still sitting right there. And we have 6 right here. Finally, we got the b all by itself. In order to do that, we can multiply it by a negative 1. That'll cancel out that negative. Multiply by a negative 1. Multiply by a negative 1. I'm multiplying all of them by negative 1. Split them up into 2 problems if you want to. If you want to make this 3 is greater than negative b, and then negative b is, or 3 is less than negative b, and then negative b is less than 6. You're welcome to just work them out as individual problems. Whatever works best for you. Okay, now we are left with negative 3, b in the middle, and negative 6. We got to think here. We multiplied by a negative, so we got to switch our symbols. Those are all going to flop and go this way now instead. From here, we're thinking about our graphing. Okay. So right now I'm going to look at this first part. I have negative 3 is greater than b. So I'm going to do an open circle at negative 3. Let's put negative 3 right here. We'll go negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. All right, at negative 3, we're going to have an open circle. Oh, excuse me. We actually have a closed circle here. Look at this. I forgot to carry this down every time. If I would have done that, we would have had a closed circle. My mistake. We have an or equal to sign. Keep that all the way through. So it's going to be a closed circle at negative 3. We know that b is going to be, we have negative 3 is greater than or equal to b. So negative 3 is larger. I'm not going to go all the way there because I still have a second part of this. B is greater than negative 6. This one's going to be an open circle at negative 6. B is greater than that. Connect those 2 right there. what we just figured out is B is greater than -6, but is less than or equal to -3. Those are a little bit hard to graph. They take a little bit of time. You have to take them slowly. Think of them in two separate problems. First as -3 is greater than or equal to B, and then from there, B is greater than -6. Then you graph those, connect them up, and you'll get something that looks like that. And number 19, this one we have an OR. I think the ORs are easier than the compound fractions. This one is really just two separate ones that we're going to both graph on the same chart, but we can do them pretty much exactly how we would our other ones. 4 plus 3n greater than or equal to 1. I'm going to try to get that n by itself. I'm going to start by subtracting 4. It's 3n greater than or equal to -3. Divide each side by 3, divided by 3, and we get n is greater than or equal to -1. That's one side of ours. I don't flip those because we multiplied by a positive. Other side, we have -5n is greater than 25. Divide each side by -5. We divided by a negative there, so we got to flip it. And we're going to have n is, flip that symbol, -5. This is going to be a -5 as well. All right, we have two separate ones here. We're going to graph them each independently. I have -5, -1, so I'm just going to make this go from -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1. And I know I'm going to start with this first one. N is greater than or equal to -1. That means it's going to be a closed circle. Moving upwards, my arrow points that way as well. The back side is going to be n is less than -5. This one's going to be an open circle, pointing back this way. Those ones represent two separate ones. These are really just two separate problems. When they're compound like this, when you don't see that OR, that means they're most likely going to connect. Take your time with those, review those. Those are big ideas that you're going to see on the test a lot. So if you're struggling with those, hop into an office hour. All right, I got a couple more. I got two more, it looks like, for you here. Our next one, we're looking at 22. We are writing a compound inequality for each graph. Our first one is going to be an OR. Our second one is not. This ones are going to be connected. So take your time with these ones. They're a little bit trickier than our 22 here. If you need help on 23, be sure to hop into my office hours. All right, so we're looking, and we have our first one right here. I'm going to think about this. I'm not even going to worry about this right now. I'm going to use my variables x. So I know x is going to be, it looks like, -6. We know it's going to be or equal to because it's a closed dot. X is pointing to the smaller numbers. X is going to be less than or equal to -6. Or, I'm going to toss that or in there because we have our other one here. X is going to be, we got it at 2. We know that it's going to be an open circle, so it's not going to be or equal to. X is, it's pointing to greater than, it's pointing to the numbers. X is greater than. So here's our final answer. X is less than or equal to -6, or X is greater than 2. When you look at 23, these ones are all going to be connected. So you're going to have X in the middle, and you're going to have symbols on each side of it. So you're going to have a number here. If I looked at this one, I can see a -3 is going to be on one side. I can see that a 2 is going to be on the other side. I can see there's open circles. I'm actually just going to do this one for you. 2 open circles, so I know that neither of them are going to be or equal to. I can see X has to be larger than -3. It has to be smaller than 2. So X is going to be greater than, or -3 is going to be less than X, eating the bigger number there. But X is going to be less than -2. We can see this. This first part's kind of confusing, but -3 is less than X because we know it has to be bigger than -3. X is less than -2. That's what your answer would look like for that one. Those ones are a little confusing. Take your time with them. You're skipping 4 in a row here. Moving on to the back side. Last one I'm doing with you. Number 28. We got a freight elevator can safely hold no more than 2,000 pounds. So I know it's a 2,000 pound maximum. An elevator operator must take 55-pound boxes to a storage area. If he weighs 165 pounds, how many boxes can he safely move at one time? Okay, so the most that there can possibly be is 2,000. I know that he weighs 165 pounds plus 55 pounds for every box that he has. I'm going to use B as boxes. I know it can't be more than 2,000, but it can be equal to 2,000, so it's got to be less than or equal to 2,000. 2,000 has to be a bigger number here. From here, we just solve this just like we would any of our other problems. Start by subtracting that 165. Type that one in my calculator for sake of time. And we get 1835, and we got 55 equal to, get b by itself by dividing away 55, divide this number by 55, and I'm getting something like this. I don't have to flip that symbol because we use positive numbers here, 33.363. So I know I can't round up another box, so I'm going to round down here, and I know that boxes is going to be less than or equal to 33. We can't carry that 34th box, otherwise we'll go over the weight limit. So we got to round down to 33 boxes. All right, there's my study guide review for you. Be sure to hop into my office hours if you have any questions about any of this. Test coming up. Put some time in. Study for that a little bit. You all got this. Keep it up.